All right, look, so we got to talk about Bitcoin. We got to talk about Bitcoin. We got to talk about altcoins, and we have to talk about cryptocurrency as a whole because we just broke under $90,000 last night. And I want to get straight to TA, tell you what's going on, tell you what I'm looking at. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and what to watch out for. Listen, we gotta put our bias to the side and we need to follow the charts, okay? So let's get straight to the video here. Let's dive straight in. All right, so this is the Bitcoin chart on the factor line on the daily. As you can see, the factor line told us to get out over here. We told you to protect yourselves under 117,000 and was saying that 112,000 was the line in the sand. If that became resistance, we would see the low hundreds. And if that broke, we would see the mid 80s. We actually went lower than that. We actually went all the way down to $80,200 right here. But I said that anything higher than the previous lows over here is just another higher low on the long-term time frame. But now we have new information since $90,000 broke. And I want to tell you what I'm seeing in the charts right now, what I'm looking at in the long term, but also short term if you're trading this, okay? So make sure you pay attention here. This is very important. It's critical right now. So since we rejected under $90,000, as you can see, price came up to meet the factor line and came back down. This is extremely important right now. We need to break above $90,000. And when I say ASAP, I mean fast. I mean tomorrow, day after, 3 days tops. A lot of people will wait for the weekly. I don't want to wait for the weekly. I want us to break above $90,000 within the following days. Because if not, price will more than likely come and test the $80,000 psychological level. And if that breaks, as the factor line, let's say, comes down here, we come up, meets the factor line and breaks, and this becomes resistance, the likelihood of this breaking is extremely high. And yes, if that breaks, we are more than likely looking at a bear market going down to the low 60s, even 50s, in my opinion, but it's not even the drop I'm worried about. It's staying under there for a prolonged period of time. That's what we need to watch out for, because yes, we could always buy. We could always buy in the bear market or as you're coming out of a bear market. The question is, how long are we going to stay under there? What's going to happen to altcoins? They're going to bleed, and they're going to bleed hard. I'm talking blood, so much blood that you'll be swimming in the River Nile in biblical times blood, okay? So we need to break above $90,000 fast. That is key. All right, now real quick, what are you doing if you're trading this? If you are trading this, things are a bit different. Look, we'll talk about what you would do long term in just a sec. As a matter of fact, here, I'll tell you right now, long term, you want $90,000 to break. And as long as you stay above $90,000, you're waiting for a test of $100,000. That is the up move you're waiting for. And if $100,000 becomes resistance, you reevaluate, but you're bearish. Does that make sense? Over $100,000, if $100,000 becomes support, you reevaluate, but you could be 50-50 or tend to be more bullish depending on momentum, depending on what the price looks like at that time, okay? And we'll talk about that when the time comes, if it comes. We'll make videos, you can ask, I'll go live, we'll see what happens. Let's talk about trading real quick, then let's talk about altcoins, because this is important. Now on the 4 hour, as you can see, the factor line gave us a range over here, and I'm gonna tell you how to trade this range as a trader or swing trader, but also how you can use this long term. Because this morning, I actually gave you this range in a short video on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, because it was very important, plus in posts. But as you can see, the factor line can actually do this for you. And if you want the factor line, or if you're wondering how to get the factor line, it's part of my course. When you get my course, Invest, Trade, and Think Like the Crypto Factor, you get the factor line as a lifetime subscription, okay? And it goes through how to use this. If you're interested, the link is in the description down below. There's a QR code over here. We're not gonna talk about this anymore in the video. I just wanted to get that out there. Prices are actually going up tomorrow. Tomorrow, the factor line prices are going up. That comes with the course. Check it out, see if it's for you. Let's move on because this is important. So the factor line gave you the range over here from the lows of $80,447, I would go 80K psychological, to 92,500, I would look at 90K psychological. But if you are a trader, you want to be trading this range. How would you trade this range? It's very simple. You have the highs, the mid, and the low of this range. As you can see, the factor line just turned red. You should already have a stop loss in place right here under the last candle, this hammer. This is your short-term stop loss over here. So if you already got in, this is where you're invalidated and you get out. If you have not gotten in yet, you're waiting to see if the price respects this level over here and back up, and the factor line turns gold, or if the price comes down over here, rejects, and keeps on coming down to the lows. In this case, you're buying and you're selling at the top of the range, or better yet, a little bit more conservatively, over here where it turned red. Of course, you're taking profits on the way up because this is still a bear trend right now and the trend stacker is just gone in the red over here. If the price comes under this level over here, which is at what? Exactly 85,550, let's say 85K or 85,500, then you're waiting to buy close to the bottom of this range. I would also mark this level over here with your stop loss under the lower of the range over here. That's how you trade this range. Now, long term, if you are a long-term investor or trader, as in much larger time frames, then you are doing nothing over here, and you're either buying once we come up and make this top range support, or you are selling once we come under and make this resistance. Because we would anticipate or have to anticipate that the previous low is more than likely going to break. It's too close. And if we zoom out, you want to protect yourself, if that makes sense, at this level. Because this would be a longer term or a longer or much deeper correction over here, more than likely. Of course, we would have to reevaluate the charts when the time comes, but that's what I'm saying. So what am I doing? What am I personally doing here? What should you do? Well, it all depends if you are a trader or an investor or long-term trader. So if you are an investor and swing trader like me, mostly on the long term, I've already protected myself. And when it comes to Bitcoin, I'm just holding my Bitcoin and I'm trading the in-betweens. So I would get back in if we get above 90K, or if we break the lows, I would wait for another bottoming formation around 65K or 60K and see if I would get back there. If we get a support as in a double bottom, or triple bottom, in this case it's 74, 75K, I would have to reevaluate. And the reason is we're getting to the end of the 4-year cycle. Now, a lot of people are saying, Paul, the 4-year cycle doesn't work, it's invalidated, it's this, it's that, we have an accident. Look, it doesn't matter. I'm going by the 4-year cycle until proven otherwise. The end coming in end of 2025, beginning 2026. I've been saying this for years. I can always get back in. I could always take profits and get back in if we have a continuation. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to risk all the gains we made from 15.6K. And if you remember my videos, I was saying that the top of Bitcoin will be $100,000 to $140,000. And I also said the top is coming in end of 2025, beginning 2026, and I'll be taking profits at $120,000 and $130,000 for Bitcoin. I won't wait till 140. The only thing we got wrong, we got a couple of things wrong, but the most important things we got wrong was A, we didn't take enough profit. I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been at 120 to 130,000 because we got there. I wasn't as aggressive. And once we broke under 117,000, we just was holding right there. I should have got out with bigger positions. We got profits, we protected ourselves in our group, but In hindsight, it should have been more aggressive. Plus, altcoins didn't run. We called that we're going to have mini alt seasons, which we got. We called the AI run, which we got. We called the privacy run, which we got. But we were saying mini alt seasons, which we had 2023, 2024. We called all of them. Right now, we're waiting for that last altcoin run towards the end of the 4-year cycle, and we're not sure if we're going to get it yet, and chances are looking slim. And it may be a mistake. It may become one of the things we got wrong, because I was waiting for a selective alt season at least, meaning privacy, perpetual dexes, and a couple of more coins I've mentioned multiple times, to have one more run up. And if we don't break above 90K soon, and we don't make some sort of structure until December, I don't know if we're going to get that altcoin run. And that may be another mistake we got. So we got a couple of things wrong. We were mostly right, but it is what it is. I don't make the rules. Let's see what happens. We still have time. We still have a center rally potential for some altcoins or some sort of recovery, but we have to break 90K. In order to test 100,000, you need to protect yourself at 100,000 and see what's going to happen. Above 100,000, you can become bullish with anticipation for a massive heads and shoulders at 117,000 level, or you would look at being bearish and taking profits and getting out. Of course, we're going to reevaluate together. Of course, I'm going to go live when I can. Of course, I'll be making these videos as I can. And of course, you have the previous video that I explained everything right here. The Bitcoin levels to look at, the bullish case, the negative case, everything. This still applies because we are still in range. So make sure you watch this video. It's a couple of days, doesn't matter. We are still in range. These are the key positions or levels, the key levels you should be looking at. So watch this video.